Casey Gray here from The Conscious Builder, and on today's video I'll be talking about why it costs more to build an open concept home. You see, we all love open concept. We all love big windows. We all love the nature, being inside or feeling like we're in nature when we're inside. I would agree, I like the same, but it doesn't come without a cost. Not only on the construction side, but on the design side as well. There's added engineering costs, and those are all things I'm gonna share, and I'm gonna show examples of what we had to get into on this particular build. What you see behind me is about a 3,000 square foot home, net zero home that we're building, and you can follow us on that. We're gonna share everything from start to finish on this particular project, so if you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe, hit that notification button so you get all the updates for all of our exciting videos coming out. But for now, let's get into today's video. All right, in this particular house, the biggest beam we had to put in was 40 feet. This is not something that we can figure out. It's not something the architect can figure out. It's not in the building code. It's something that needs to be engineered. So that is the first cost. What is the engineering cost to create this open concept living space? So in this case, the beam had to be a combination of LVL and steel plates, 9 plies. So it goes wood, steel, wood, steel, wood, steel, wood, and then there's a bolt that goes through it, or multiple bolts that go through it. So that's the first thing, is it had to be engineered and then it had to be built. And then how the heck do you put up this beam, right? Can you build it in place? But even one 40-foot LVL is heavy, one steel plate is heavy. So that's the other added cost, is now that you have to build this, then you have to bolt it, you have all the added material of building that, and then you have to crane it into place. So there's engineering, there's the labor involved, and then there's the crane to actually get it up and put it into place. That's all added cost, right? It's a lot more complex than having walls and smaller beams and things that actually fit within the building code. So anyways, it's got done. It's gonna be worth it in the end, but that's really up to you if you're designing and building your own home in terms of what is that actually worth? What is that open concept living worth to you? The other complexity though that these beams create, especially when they're flush beams, or really only when they're flush beams, is that it blocks you from getting ductwork and plumbing through. So if that is something that's required on one side or the other, you need to cross it with ductwork always has to cross, is how are you gonna get it across? So it's going to create bulkheads now. If you can't get through that beam, you're gonna have to go under the beam. Or you have to come around it and come up somewhere else. Either way, it's adding the complexity of how do you get that plumbing, how do you get that ductwork through to the other side of that beam. In this case, it's gonna be a little bit different because we're not running ductwork from the basement up, we're actually running from the second floor down. But we still have to think about how do we get past that beam and where do we run that ductwork, so there will be some sort of chase somewhere above this, in this area, which is a bedroom, to get down into heating what I'm standing in right now, which is gonna be a workshop. Another thing that people love is windows. Big openings, bring the outside in, which I agree with, it's fantastic. But once again, it's bringing things that are outside of the building code into the design. What you see behind me is a large opening. It's gonna be a great room in the living room going up to the second floor. It's gonna be a railing you can see down, so it's gonna be a lot of glass, big doors, and we're trying to minimize that space between the door and the large window above it. So it's actually a steel beam, an I-beam that's been put on its side. Once again, it's something the engineer has to do. It's not something that the architect or something within the building code can call out. So added cost to figure that out, and then the cost to us to build that, put that in place while that whatever needs to be done. In this case, there wasn't any welding, but it is added steel that we need to put into the design now. Glad you watched this video until the end. Be sure to hit the like button. If you want to learn more about net zero, hit the link that's popping up in the video right now, and remember to live consciously.